What is generally termed permissive open source licenses have minimal, non-onerous conditions that users must follow. For example, a permissive license might allow unlimited use and redistribution of software for any purpose at all, as long as the copyright notices and the license terms are made visible to users. There are quite a few permissive licenses with slightly different terms. The most common are the BSD 3-clause license, the MIT license, and the Apache 2 license. Some software licenses contain more terms and conditions than others. For example, you'll often hear about copyleft licenses when people talk about open source software. Copyleft is a domain-specific term that can also be referred to as license reciprocity. These licenses require any derivative works to be distributed under the same license as the original software, which includes making the source code available under that license. In the context of open source software, the term derivative work often refers to software based directly on the source code, software in the same source code file as the original, or in the same program. It is important to understand how a specific license defines derivative work to ensure compliance with that license. Examples of copyleft open source licenses include the GPL, the LGPL, the AGPL, the MPL, and CDDL. The Creative Commons CC by SA, Attribution Share Alike, license also has a similar effect. Share Alike is the Creative Commons term for copyleft. Each license has subtly different terms, but all include the concept of derivative works needing to remain under the same licensing terms as the original software. Software license compatibility allows two or more different pieces of software under different licenses to be combined into one new derivative work. This is not possible with all types of software licenses or even all types of open source software licenses. It is therefore important to have a basic understanding of what allows or disallows software license compatibility. Software license compatibility is determined by whether the relevant software licenses have conflicting requirements. For example, the GPL2 license and the EPL1 open source licenses both allow derivative works. However, they both require that their respective derivative works, if distributed, are licensed only under their original license. This makes it impossible to distribute a derivative work of both GPL2 and EPL1. These two licenses are therefore similar but incompatible. The concept of multi-licensing refers to the practice of distributing software under two or more different sets of licenses, and therefore terms and conditions, simultaneously, where the recipient can choose which license to apply. This adds flexibility in choosing a convenient license for the user based on their purpose. For example, when software is dual licensed, the copyright owner gives each recipient the choice of two licenses. For example, software may be released under the MIT license as well as the GPL2 license simultaneously. Here we have a choice of complying with one of the two licenses from the choices given. This can be based on the interest and purpose of the individual user or organization. Notices such as text in comments in file headers often provide authorship and licensing information. They are generally regarded as best practice for ensuring the clarity and sustainability of code bases. Open source licenses may also require the placement of notices in or alongside source code or documentation to give credit or an attribution to the author, or to make it clear the software includes modifications. Some examples of notices are copyright notices, license notices, attribution notices, and modification notices. Copyright statements often look like Copyright 2023 Martin Yagi. An example of a license notice is a statement identifying the license being used. An example of an attribution notice is a statement identifying the authors of the software. An example of a modification notice is a statement explaining what has changed. All of these statements are usually made visible in the software documentation. In the modern digital world, they are often accessed via a menu under the About or Licensing Terms or Legal Notices or something similar. In the past, such notices may have been supplied in the paper user manuals provided with consumer electronics products.